Hey everyone, welcome to this week's WilmingtonBiz Talk. I'm Vicki Janowski, editor of the Greater Wilmington Business Journal. And today we're talking about a local tech company, Vantaca, which recently made a major announcement about its future. So joining us and to give all the details is Ben Currin, who's CEO of Vantaca. And we will jump into our conversation with Ben as soon as we hear a quick word from our sponsors, Cape Fear Realtors.
Hello, I'm Ann Gardner, CEO of Cape Fear Realtors. Realtors support this program's efforts to connect our community in meaningful dialogue with actionable insights. Realtors are dedicated professionals who build strong, resilient communities and businesses. Work with someone you can trust. Work with a realtor. Learn more at capefear.realtor.
Just recently, Wilmington-based startup company Vantaca announced that it was going to undergo a major expansion, planning a $5 million project and doubling its workforce by adding more than 100 new jobs to the area. Along with this, it received approval for local and state incentives as part of this expansion project. So to fill us in about that and its future, and also a little bit about what Vantaca does, is Ben Currin, who is CEO with the tech company. Ben, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Vicki.
So Ben, just start us off with, the Business Journal has been covering Vantaca for several years now, and you've been with the company since 2018, I believe, when you came on as Executive Vice President. So we've kind of tracked the growth of this company as it's kind of organically grown here in Wilmington. But share with those who maybe might not be as familiar, what does Vantaca do, and where did it come from? Where did the idea start at?
Sure, absolutely. So it is important to start with the what does Vantaca do? Because I think a lot of folks just hear tech company and stop there. So a little bit of color. So we focus in property technology and specifically within community management. And so what that really means and how to kind of distill it down is many of us, and Vicki, you might live in an HOA or a community association. So I'll talk about how that industry has grown as well. But many of us across the United States live in an HOA, a condominium association, or a co-op. And most of those communities have some sort of professional management that they hire. So there's a volunteer board of directors many times, and they go out and hire a professional property management company to come in and do all the nitty-gritty work of collecting assessments and dues, finding vendors for everything from insurance to utilities to lawn services, paying those vendors, doing reserve planning, producing financials. And we provide the software to those professional management companies to do that job. So at its core, what Vantaca is an end-to-end solution for those HOA management companies. So we do everything between the banking integration so people can pay electronically or through mail or anything like that. They can select their vendors, they can have workflows and communications. We can automate the financial production, but we're that comprehensive solution for those professional property management companies.
Ben, you're right. I do live in do have an HOA in our neighborhood, and I tell people all the time the annual HOA meetings are fascinating. Once you get people debating how long Christmas lights should be up, it's just it's like unlike any other meeting I've ever go to. So you shared a little bit about what Vantaca does and how it started. Before we talk about what this major announcement was the past couple of weeks, can you talk a little bit about what the growth has been like in the past couple of years?
Absolutely, and I'll go back to maybe color in some more detail with how we got started, which I think has led to a lot of what's fueled our growth. So unlike a lot of technology companies who come up with a great solution and then go look for a problem to solve, we came from within the industry. So several of our founding members had been in the world of professional community management for decades plus. So these were folks who came up in the industry, had tried a number of different kind of point solutions to solve different problems as they grew and scaled their businesses, and were always met with the frustration of, man, the technology just isn't quite evolving as much as we want it to enable our business to scale more efficiently. And so what several of our founding members did is coordinate with a couple software developers who had also been in the industry and seen those same problems, and built a purpose-built end-to-end solution that really addresses that problem. So instead of looking for a problem to solve, we saw a problem and we solved it. And so that led to a really strong, really great product market fit that allowed us to grow pretty quickly. So we started with, talking to people we knew and started locally, and then quickly through great partnerships with major banks that operate in this industry across the country, as well as a really strong network of customer referrals, peer groups, and industry associations. We grew from, at the end of 2017, one client with a few thousand doors to today, where we have over 160 management companies representing about 2.1 million doors across the country. And so really, getting back to your question of what fueled that growth, it's, I think, the fact that our core team, and we continue to hire product experts from the industry, really knew the right problem to solve and what we were trying to build.
And that leads us to the kind of the news of the month, this announcement about expansion. Both Wilmington City Council and New Hanover Board of Commissioners had discussed a company that was seeking incentives, but of course, until the deal was finalized, they couldn't say who it was. Both government entities approved those incentives, and then we hear the announcement that it was going for Vantaca, and then a little bit more about your plans for expanding. So can you talk more about what that expansion is and why you got, well, let's first start with just the expansion part. Let's talk about the company end of it. What do you guys have in the works that you were coming to the local government with?
Great. So really what's been fantastic is, and I'll come back to this a couple of times. It's really a partnership between us, City of Wilmington, New Hanover County, State of North Carolina, and the glue of all that, who I could not give more credit to, Wilmington Business Development, really helped to translate between us, who, we're a startup technology company. We don't know how to navigate, the local government and the state government and the different incentive programs and potential incentives that are there. And then they don't necessarily speak technology company either in the local government and state government side. So Wilmington Business Development really opened up our eyes to, hey, if we're growing in this aggressive way, and we have these plans that we're pretty confident about of our growth for the next few years, who can you connect with in the local government and the state government, and how can we understand what resources are available to us to help make that decision to continue to grow here? A big decision for us early on. We had a development and product office in Atlanta, Georgia, and we thought, pre-COVID, we needed to be in a major metro to attract those jobs there. And COVID, along with kind of commitments from City of Wilmington, New Hanover County, and the state, have really showed us that you can hire for those jobs anywhere. People will move to a great place to live, like Wilmington, and then we can grow our footprint right here. So when it comes to what does the expansion look like, it's continued job growth. So we're right at 100 employees today, when we grew to that number since 2017. And over the next 5 years, as part of the economic incentive package, we commit to bringing more than 100 new jobs to this area. So it's hiring people, and then investing in our physical space. So we're working through a purchase agreement for our current building now, and looking to kind of redesign and make that a growing hub for our team to have a great space to use and collaborate in. So the expansion is both people and space.
And remind us, where is that building at now that you guys are going to grow in with?
So our headquarters is at 7040 Wrightsville Avenue. So we're right near the beach, which is great. A lot of what our team loves about Wilmington is access to downtown Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach, and kind of the general surrounding area. So this space, and particularly this location, has been a great resource for our employees to have a place to come together where they can walk to get lunch or go out after work together, and be a really central location. So it's been a great location for us, and we look forward to expanding here.
And we should mention, when you talk about those incentives, when the state and local governments typically structure those, you guys have to hit certain hiring benchmarks and targets like that before they're given. So we should point out to people that it's not necessarily just a blank check and you go buy the building, right?
That's exactly right. So it's a pretty complex incentive package, and it's both very meaningful, but also there's very high bars, right? So we are able to kind of unlock and receive economic incentive.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I
Again,
certainly
Ben?
can.
Oh,
Yeah.
the power of Zoom. Okay. Apologies for that. We had a hiccup and you guys are still, I see, streaming and watching on Facebook. Okay, so jumping right back in. So we're talking about incentives. You hit the benchmarks, this complex process. One thing you mentioned earlier, kind of how this comes together. When you as a company, when you were thinking about whether to pursue incentives or not, was it something that, you approached Wilmington Business Development about to try to figure out the process, or did they approach you guys and say, this is the lay of the land that's available? How did that come together?
That's a great question. So we've been working pretty closely with Wilmington Business Development for several years now, and we looked at these programs and kind of evaluated them early in our process and our growth, and it was clear to us that the time wasn't right for us a couple of years ago to do that. We had to really build a track record of job creation and be confident about where we're going in the future, which today we are, and we have that track record. Whereas a couple of years ago, we were just starting to kind of build that confidence in ourselves and build the team. So they've helped us to understand when that right time is. And the Wilmington Business Development relationships with other businesses that we could interface with and kind of see how they navigated those resources, examples like Live Oak Bank and Encino and Castle Branch and others, that has helped us to see what's possible and how we should navigate those potential resources. And I guess the other kind of half of that question is, what are the pros and cons? Is it right for us? Is it right for others? It's a lot to consider if you look at pursuing any kind of public support in terms of incentives. So it was very clear when we first started talking to Wilmington Business Development, as well as the city, county, and state, that these public entities are not angel investors, right? They're not going to take a wild bet on an unproven idea. What they will do is provide support to continued job growth. And so once the time was right, we had to go through a very thorough review process, open up our kind of financials, as well as provide a lot of insights into our business to be able to qualify for these incentives, which really are performance-based incentives. So once we had kind of the confidence in our business and our plan to do that, it was a great partnership to work with Wilmington Business Development, as well as the county, city, and state to go through and kind of unlock those potential resources.
Do you think there's a benefit of going that route versus, private investment, like when you talk about angel investors or outside?
I don't think there's a one size fits all. I think there certainly is a place for angel investment, venture capital, all those things. And it's all about the right time as well. So it depends what the business needs and how quickly they need that. For us, these kind of performance incentives helped us to make the decision to grow here in Wilmington, and also encourage us to continue to grow aggressively and hire locally. So that made a lot of sense for us at this time, but I don't think it's a one size fits all equation.
So let's talk a little bit about those jobs. The goal is about 100, a little bit more. What kinds of jobs are you looking to fill, and where are you looking to fill them from? Do you feel like you have to recruit from outside the market, or are you seeing enough new people in people that have been in the industry and tech side to actually fill the need that you have here?
Yeah, great question. So probably the biggest single bucket, if you had to look at kind of different areas where we're creating those jobs, is product development and engineering. So we're a technology company at our core. So this is a mixture of software engineers, product managers, business analysts, designers, both on the user experience and user interface side. So that's probably the biggest single area, that product development and engineering area. And we're filling those from a variety of places, mostly locally. About 80% of our employees are here local in the Wilmington area. And we always look to hire here first. There's so much good that can come of people having some physical connection to the office and each other. But we've also had people who have moved to the Wilmington area during COVID and are working for, companies all over the country and want to find a local business to have that connection with. So we've had a lot of people who have moved to the area in the last couple of years as well, who are great candidates for jobs. So that's the biggest single area, but what we're kind of expanding in all our areas. So sales and marketing, that team continues to grow, and what we call our operational or our customer experience teams also have really continued to grow and will continue to grow over the next couple of years. So that's everything from project managers on the implementation and onboarding side to customer success specialists and folks who work in professional services. And the local market has certainly been great for those resources as well. About a third of all of our employees are graduates of UNC Wilmington. And on the operational kind of customer experience side, it's even more skewed. Almost 50% came from UNCW, either direct hires or worked in some other either local or regional business, and then have come over to us. So we're finding most of our folks available right here in this market, and also there's people who really love to move to the Wilmington area and raise their family here, and we're certainly the beneficiaries of that.
So have you guys already started entering this hiring mode, or is that something that you're rolling out as you look towards your next year?
So it's a continuous process. We've been hiring the last couple of years. We will continue that. So it's not necessarily a light switch that's flipped. It's you could go to Vantaca.com and look at our careers page today, and there's several open positions that we're in the process of filling, and there will be new positions rolling on every month. So it's a continuous kind of hiring effort now and over the next 5 years and beyond. There's not what you won't see is 100 job postings one month and none the next. We look to kind of really phase in the team and grow the team over time.
So with that expansion, do you see the company expanding its footprint? Is it moving into other parts of the country that you guys aren't in now, or just how competitive is this space?
That's a great question. So there's always competition, especially in software. It's certainly a national customer base for us. The largest state for us in terms of client numbers as well as doors is California. And North Carolina is actually not in the top 3 or 4 for us in terms of number of clients. So really, it's a national footprint for us. We'll continue to expand our footprint into new markets nationally. And it is very competitive, but we're not constrained kind of regionally or geographically just based on the nature of the business.
Okay, and then before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to share that you're able to share at this point just about y'all's future?
Sure, and I'll be brief. I guess the biggest thing is, we're excited to be growing here in Wilmington. Our team really loves the Wilmington lifestyle and what that offers to, the benefits that offers to everyone on our team. It's a startup, so there's a lot of work hard, play hard kind of culture, but also like live well and live in a great place that you love. So I'm really excited to be doing that here. And as we start to shift our thinking to getting back to some sort of kind of normalcy on the heels of COVID, or as our life kind of changes. We're excited to participate more and more in the local community. So we've started a Vantaca Volunteers program. We had a large group of folks at the food bank last Friday, and we're just looking for more and more opportunities for our team to connect into the Wilmington community and really be kind of great participants here locally.
All right, Ben Currin, CEO of Vantaca, thank you very much for joining us today and giving us a little bit more of the backstory of what you guys are expanding into right now. And to everybody else, thanks for watching and being patient to our little Zoom glitch, which, as you guys all know, a year and a half in, it's going to happen from time to time. And if you want to catch up on any of our previous topics or discussions with speakers, you can go to WilmingtonBizTalk.com, or you can look for this on your preferred podcast streaming platform. We will see you guys all next week with a new topic, a new speaker, likely on Thursday. But if you sign up for our emails, you will be sure to get the heads up and the jump on what our discussions are going to be each week. So thanks, everybody, and have a good rest of the day.
Thanks, Vicki.